Okay, for this video, we're going to show you how to write an offer. The easiest way to write an offer with a house that's listed in MLS is to go to the MLS. So I'll show you. We pulled up this house that we're going to place an offer on. And the first thing I do is start with here where it says annual taxes. You'll pull up the tax records. Well, here you go. You'll have that just ready to come back to in the future. And I'll sit here with our tax records, or go back to our MLS, and just make sure you read through the MLS. You've already done the comps to make sure that this price is accurate, or you know that you're going to negotiate. Make sure you see any of the perks that might be coming with it. Like this one's offering 1% with the preferred lender. You'd also want to go and make sure that you've looked through all the documents. You are going to upload these later into your offer and all that. Make sure you sign those. And when an agent puts offer instructions, read that. Make sure that you know what they're asking for, because it'll help you to write a good offer for them. All right, so now still in this listing, we're going to go over to more up here in the top corner, and right from the listing, you can click Transaction Desk. What this does is it's going to load that information right into Transaction Desk. So remembering our format, this is a buyer, so I'm going to put a B for a buyer. I'm going to get rid of a lot of this and then put test buyer as their last name, because that would be what you'd put as their last name. And then we are a residential sale template, which means I'm working with the buyer. Okay, and we're going to import the data from Realty. And as soon as I click on that, you'll see it already brings in the MLS number. And when I click create, it's going to draw everything out of the MLS that's already in there. So it's going to help us to make this a quicker process overall. It's really great. So now once we're in there, we'll just fill in some things. Property type is going to be residential for this. We're going to go down. There's no instrument number or page number, so that will get on tax records. Here on the tax records, if you go down to sales history, you'll find that there's a number here. Just real quick reminder, this number is either going to be a document or instrument number, or it's going to be a book and page. The way you know the difference is the way it's set up here. If it's a book, you'll have a / and page like you have right here. If it's a document number, or also known as an instrument number, it's just one longer number. There you go. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it into my spot for instrument number. It's also missing the legal description, so I'll go back. That's going to be closer to the bottom. You'll see legal description, and then the description itself is here. This will help us to be able to identify the property better as a title company when they're doing all their searches. I already know that it doesn't have a block number and a page number, but I'll show you on instrument on your tax records. That's under legal description as well. So you can get more data if it's there, but it's not. So that's all I fill out on this page. The rest of the stuff we'll come back to in the future when we get the deal. But for right now, that's what I'm going to fill out. I don't fill out anything on transaction dates. And then, so because I'm the broker, this is my listing. Usually it would have your information as the buyer, the selling broker, and then a different listing agent, obviously. But I picked one of my properties for this. So just know that that would typically automatically have the person's name in there. So we're going to add a couple contacts, because we want to have, I'm going to add an existing contact, because I know I have a test buyer. So I'm going to add test buyer, and then you can get the seller's information for when you're putting a listing either here under tax records, right underneath the picture, or you can often get them down here. This is usually a better place to get them on any kind of documents they have. So this has the property condition disclosure, which you should have already gone through, and I can copy and paste that person and put it in there. Those are two key places you can find it. For this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a test seller because we're not really putting personal data into this one. So we have test seller, test data. That's their first and last names. So we've got all of the contacts we need to do in here. And going to the next thing, we should, at this point, you've already shown houses. You should already have a buyer rep agreement by the new rules. You should have all these other things filled out because you've had your initial consultation. So you don't have to fill them out, these ones out again, the wire fraud, disclaimer, RESPA, all that, since you already filled it out earlier on. So you'll be able to delete these later. But we'll go into the purchase and sale agreement because this is where we need to have for our offer. And it's what we're going to focus on for this particular deal. So as you can see, everything's auto-filled in because we have it in there. This doesn't have a garage, so there's no garage door openers. We're going to put, it is listed with a refrigerator, microwave, stove, and dishwasher. So we'll add those in there, and we're not going to ask that they remove all personal items. Not agreed upon in this contract. Okay. And then we're not going to want any leased items, so that's how we'll fill that in. None. Does not want any leased items. Purchase price. We've defined that this is the right purchase price, and we're going to give just a clean offer on this one, and we're going to have you guys work on ideas of what could happen for other options in the next go-do. But this is an FHA loan, so it's 96.5% FHA loan. You would definitely, it is a townhome, so you'd want to verify whether or not it will go FHA before offering FHA. Just a heads up. We don't have to worry about the financial contingency waived because it is a loan, and since it is a loan, it will be contingent upon appraisal. So you click this box for that. Going down here, we're gonna typical seller paid title, and we're actually in this deal gonna ask for some closing costs. So if you go in here, we can go to buyer expenses. Oh, it's not going to pull it up, so I'm going to go a different way. If you go to system clauses, the top one, seller to pay buyer expenses. If I click that, click OK, it goes in there. The first part of this is actually just a note, so we're going to delete that, and I'm going to go, I suggest always going with the dollar amount rather than a percentage, because it's more concrete, can't be argued in court. So we're going to ask for on this place $9,000 towards buyer expenses, which are what closing costs are called. So stop using closing costs. It is a buyer expense. That's what the contract says, buyer expenses. Let's stay uniform. So Bell and Alexander, it's both the same company, but again, looking on the contract or looking on the listing, or at least calling the buyer or seller agent would be the best way to find out what their closing agency is going to be. My preferred, and should be your preferred too, is Bell and Alexander. We're going to get trust money in by 7 days. We're going to send it to Bell and Alexander because remembering Genovations really does not cover it, and it's a $300,000 house, so 1% is $3,000. And moving down, we're gonna close. We'll go with 1 month from now, so it'll put us. We'll go 13th to get us on a Tuesday. Just a pro tip: it's easier to close on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday than Mondays or Fridays because less people close on those days. And then Monday's busy because you're coming out of the weekend. Friday's busy because it's the last day of the week. That's a little helper. And then closing as evidence of warranty deed means that the day you close and it gets funded, your buyer gets to move in, or you can do a temporary occupancy. We're going to choose the day of. Greenbelt, 15 acres or more. This is a condo. There is no greenbelt attached to it. Deed, we're going to go test buyer. That'll be the name on the deed. That's my client's name. This lead-based paint does not apply because it was built after 1978. You would want to verify that. Buyer's inspection, I give 10 days typically for the buyer's inspection, then 3 days for the resolution period, and you can either waive all inspections, or you can make it an as-is type property. Pass fail would be this box. Use those two. Don't make up your own. They exist within the contract. So this is the final inspection 2 days before, up to 2 days before the closing. I'm going to waive your protection plan because it's an updated home, but you can put your protection plan information in there if you want to go for that with your client. And that is basically it, unless you want to put special steps like a home sale contingency and things like that. They are in here, and again, a lot of those clauses are right here. We also have our contract wording on our resources page for under working with buyers. And then you want to make sure you put a time limit, as well as making sure, so I usually put 8 p.m. the day after I submit the offer, so they get a good 24 hours to make the decision and get back to us. That's my typical. There's a lot of different negotiating tips that you can use, or tactics that you can use depending on the situation, but this is no competition. Giving a good offer was what my buyer in this case wants to. Now we're done. Save and exit. The next video will have some more information, but that will get you on the road to submitting your offer. Best of luck.